Pacifico is a Mexican lager brewed to be discovered. It's like fresh tracks on a powder day. Like that uncharted trail a stone's throw away. Like the perfect wave on a sunny day. Pacifico. Find your own way. 21 plus. Drink responsibly. Imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
This summer, Instacart is bringing back your favorites from 1999 with prices from 1999. That means 90s prices on juice pouches that ought to be respected, 90s prices on boxed mac and cheese, and 90s prices on ham, cheese, and cracker lunches. Enjoy all those throwbacks and more at throwback prices, only through Instacart. $4.72 maximum discount per $10 of eligible items. Limit one offer per order. Expires 9/5 while supplies last. Discount based on CPI comparison.
You can support this podcast at patreon.com/partnersincrimemedia.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie, and this is Crime Writers On. Crime Writers On is the original true crime review podcast that digs into true crime, pop culture, other podcasts. And on this episode, it was a growing youth ministry dedicated to creating the next generation of evangelicals. Then it tried to turn them into modern-day martyrs. We'll talk about Season 2 of Shiny Happy People on Prime Video. Joining me to get that done and more is true crime author, TV journalist, and host of These Are Their Stories podcast, my husband and love of my life, Kevin Flynn. Hello, Kevin.
I don't know if you can hear that, but the dog is snoring.
Yeah.
Right behind me. Sat down. I can't lean back.
No.
Oh,
now you just sit forward like I had.
Do this.
There he is.
I can hear it.
That's a dog. All right.
Hello, Kevin.
Hello, Rebecca.
So how you doing with that dog sitting behind you on the bench?
He's cute.
He is very cute. Also with us is private investigator, certified pet detective, resident cat lady, and author of The Final Curtain, Laura Bricker. Hi, Laura.
Hey, Rebecca.
And finally, our captain of all things cynical, author of the City Trilogy, host of Strange Arrivals, and our Patreon Deep Dive Book Club podcast host, as well as the Rip Current podcast host, Toby Ball. Hi, Toby.
Hey, Rebecca, I'm ready to destroy some shit for Jesus.
All right. Are you ready to get dropped off in another state and have to come home in a couple of hours with a giant cross and not ask for any help?
I'm going to be a telemarketer for Jesus.
Telemarketer for Jesus.
I'm just going to fucking crush some shit. Just ruin it.
So, Kevin, what's coming up on the next Crime Writers On program?
Yeah, so a week from today on Monday, we're going to be talking about the series from Apple TV Plus. It's called Smoke.
All right. Looking forward to talking about that one.
It's based on the podcast Firebug that we covered many years ago.
It is, and it's got Taron Egerton in it.
Oh, yes.
Or Edgerton. I think it's Egerton.
I think it's Egerton, yeah.
He's a cutie. He's not cute in this, but he's a cutie generally speaking. He was really cute in Blackbird.
Did you see the dominatrix scene? I think he's... No, what? Didn't do it for you?
He was cute in Kingsman.
Good in Kingsman, yeah.
So I just want to say, I believe that Livy is going to keep it in, so I'll mention it again, that Briscoe has become a studio rat.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so weird because when he's like upstairs and he wants to sort of like get our attention or whatever, he barks. He's a pain. He takes a toy and runs around in circles. He does all these things. We have been keeping him from coming down to the basement for his entire life. He's 5 years old. A couple weeks ago, after our bathroom project was finished, I was like, fuck it. What's the worst that could happen? He comes down to the basement. Because he used to pretend he couldn't come upstairs and he'd beg for treats. It's a whole bullshit thing. Now he just comes down here when we're recording, plops on the floor or on the bench, and sleeps the entire time. This is a behavior he never exhibits.
So weird.
In his real life. It's like, I think he thinks we're talking to him.
He just likes to shepherd. You know, he's a herding dog.
It's very weird. It's just a strange, because if he acted like this in our regular life, you would like him a lot more.
I would like him a lot more than I do. This fucking dog.
I love this dog.
Hey, before we go on, Rebecca, we want to talk about the Amazon list that you're creating for educators.
That's right. So if you are on our Facebook group, and if you're not on our Facebook group, I encourage you to join it. Just find Crime Writers on Facebook. There's a link there to join the group, and then we'll let you in if you know any one of the four of our names. I'm Rebecca.
Mm-hmm.
So just say my name, because most people do. Because I think I'm the first one. I don't think it's because I'm the best. Anyway, we will let you in. And there, every year, it's kind of a tradition, I invite teachers to post their classroom wish lists on our Facebook group in one singular post. And other listeners really like to help out, like buy stuff from your list. I make it a point every year to buy one thing from each list that's posted. Don't tell Kevin, but I do. I think it's really, really important that we support our teachers, especially in a time of budget cuts and grant cutting. And the bottom line is you guys should have all the shit you need for your classroom anyway, and you don't, and you have to make these wish lists. So let's go ahead and clear those lists. So you can go to our Facebook group and help some of our teacher listeners out right now on Facebook. Is that what you wanted me to say, Kevin?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so should we go ahead and talk about the thing we're talking about?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. Leading off.
Ron Luce came on stage and he said something to the effect of, "Are you ready to rock your face off for Jesus?"
In the 1990s, Teen Mania Ministries aimed to compete with pop culture influences and reach Christian youth with rock concert-like worship events and international mission trips. The program became a pipeline for the Honor Academy, a religious education facility built on a curriculum of fundamentalist beliefs and unquestioning obedience.
They might call it growth or they might call it character development, but it was the same lesson plan every class. Obedience. Well, what's character development about? Obedience. Well, how do you grow? Obedience.
Founder Ron Luce aligned his group with conservative political organizations looking to create the next generation of evangelical Americans. But his program would soon take on a militaristic tone, putting teens through brutal boot camps, glorifying martyrdom, and building an army of actual cultural warriors.
This was fascism in front of me on a massive scale. Teen Mania was part of a broad movement created by the big, heavy political players to blow up the order as it is. This is the generation that was raised to seize power. But
the end of democracy.
A Teenage Holy War, Shiny Happy People, is season 2 of the hit series on Prime Video. Producers pivot away from the drama around reality TV family The Duggars and focus on the rise and fall of Teen Mania. It features alumni recounting how their membership went from joyful engagement to physical and spiritual abuse. It also shows how the youth program fits into a larger political crusade to reshape the nation according to fundamentalist Christian values. Spoiler alert, we're going to be talking about pretty significant plot points from season 2 of Shiny Happy People. So if you want to remain spoiler-free, go to the estimated time code in our show notes for our thumbs up or thumbs down reviews. All right, so Toby, as we hear in this documentary, a not insignificant percentage of Americans are evangelical Christians and are actively engaged in programs like this and in what are called the culture wars. Very, very prominent in our culture. Our culture has definitely shifted in this direction. Pop culture, especially if you look at all the recent show cancellations at HGTV, etc. What do you think of the influence of this, and do you see it in your life?
I don't see it at all in my life, which is what is kind of interesting, is that I just never heard of any of this stuff before. At one point, they mentioned the band Striper, which is like a great like 80s like hair metal band with a Christian message. And that was like the only piece of culture that I recognized at all this entire thing.
But now they're drinking, Toby, so
you've never
are
seen
they
that?
still godly? Yeah.
They're probably fornicating as well. Yeah, I mean, I think one of the interesting things, there's a lot of interesting stuff to me about this, but one of them is like how there can be this like hundreds of millions of dollar industry that just like never pops up on my radar anywhere. It's not on social media. You don't see ads for it. I don't see it when I go to like Barnes and Noble. I don't see it. Like there's no place in my life where I run into any of these. Like they named like 5 bands. I was like, I've never heard of any of these. Like
That's fine to not hear of the bands, but you do see it, Toby. You
like,
do.
The only thing I see like on the cover of People, every once in a while I'll see something about like the Duggars, but it's not something that I like actually interact with or see anything other than just like possibly the most passing thing. Like, how do you think that I run into it?
I would just say if you interact with pop culture, which admittedly you don't as much as other people, if you interact with athletics, if you interact with like the things on our screens and the things that people are reading and the tables at bookstores, evangelical conservative culture has become a dominant force in shaping what we see, what we listen to, what we watch, how athletes speak. Like it is a whole thing and it's everywhere. And it used to be fringy and now it is completely mainstream. These people have won what they set out to do. This one organization may have gone down, but if the point was to replace and fight mainstream culture with this alternate culture, like they're winning. They are absolutely fucking winning. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think you're right about sports. I didn't think about that, but this has been going on in sports for a lot longer than this, right? I mean, I think that was my first.
It's not just scoring touchdowns and pointing up, Toby. It's a whole different thing right now with this evangelical stuff in sports. A whole different thing.
I have to say, I was blown away when I saw the level of just this teen organization and the magnitude of these concerts and the pyrotechnics. I'm like, why have I never heard of this before? Had you guys? I just was
No, but we also live in New England, right? If we lived in Oklahoma, it would be like more prevalent everywhere that we went. People would be involved in, you're in high school, there are kids that would be, more would be involved in ministry and other things like that. And
Jason Moon was telling me, and HBR was telling me there was a Hell House across the street from his school growing up.
Yeah.
And the vice principal played Satan in the Hell House.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yikes.
Well, just like, if you want, go on Instagram and search Teen Mania once, and the algorithm will feed you up all the rest of the stuff that whether you want it or not. So
that's why I'm not doing it.
That's why you're not in it. Yeah, that's why you're not in it.
TikTok, too. TikTok is so influenced by evangelicals and Mormons. It's like a platform for infusing. Like, a lot of cooking videos are made by evangelicals and Mormons. Like, it's a whole thing. It really is everywhere. Once you know what to look for, you see it everywhere.
That's part why this documentary is made. It's made for people like us that are not as versed in this part of our culture and the machinations here. There are a lot of people that watch this and like, yeah, I knew all about that and I was in that. And some people might not have any issue with their ultimate goals here. But I think it's enlightening for us.
Isn't trying to replicate the pop culture, though, like a bad idea, Kevin? It's just a bad idea.
Well, I think this is one thing that these evangelical groups misunderstand, thinking that just if they replicate the aesthetic of pop culture, change the message, and God's will be done, that's just not gonna happen. It's not because their raps are lame. They are.
So lame.
Got no flow. The drip is bad. Whatever. Yeah. But this works. That's like as entertainment for people of faith. They will like that. Make it for them, but not as a vehicle to convert MTV viewers to become Southern Baptists or something like that. That's just not the party that people are gonna go to. So, a lot of these evangelicals have seen that in the culture wars, they have lost the culture. Right? We are predominantly a secular culture. Our TV and our movies are all sort of based on these kinds of things, even as the politics change. So they're like saying, oh, well, if all we need is to have, an evangelical Taylor Swift and everybody's going to convert, and that's just not what's going to happen, right? So
I don't think that's the point of having evangelical Taylor Swift.
So they're doubling down on the people who naturally would have an affinity for this kind of program.
Yeah, I actually think the reason they want to have an evangelical Taylor Swift is to keep evangelical kids from thinking that Taylor Swift is a good. Yeah, it's like they just don't want those kids to go to Taylor Swift concerts, right? They want to continue to separate this entire young part of America from sort of mainstream life and mainstream culture. Laura, we meet our central figure pretty early on, and one of the ex-Teen Mania people calls Ron Luce very intense. Do you agree with that description of Ron Luce?
Very intense. Yeah. Ron Luce, like, I'm watching this guy and he just comes out like, are we gonna rock for Jesus? Or whatever he's saying. I'm like, yeah, we're preaching like no drugs and alcohol, but that guy's on something and it's certainly not high on Jesus.
The Choir of the Fire is not just a bunch of singing and preaching. We got bombs and video clips. We got music, a live band, live sketches. It's like a 21st century presentation of the gospel.
This is like a Christian atomic explosion with teenagers.
Watching that sort of character that's like larger than life, whose personality is like bombastic and just like over the top, but he's clean cut. For an old guy, I guess you could say he's good looking or whatever. But the energy at these events is like, what was it? A Choir of the Fire events. Mm-hmm. It's like a battle cry when he goes in there. That was fascinating because you're watching how that then gains traction. And they said at one point it was like he had like 3 million followers or something of these kids, these teenagers that are going to these shows. I was just mesmerized by this guy. Like when he drives in, didn't he drive in like a motorcycle? He drives
in a Hummer at one point, a motorcycle, all of it.
Yeah, but it felt so make-believe in watching it that I'm like, how did people actually really buy into this? But that's the story here, is that they did buy into this because he's so just wildly charismatic in this like high energy that they're like, I want some of what he's having.
Is it cocaine? What do you think it's a Ron Luce, Toby?
It's holy cocaine is what it is.
What I thought was kind of interesting about him is that I think there's a lot like given to kids about obedience and stuff like that. And I think Ron Luce was like, well, teenagers are sort of naturally rebellious. So how do you take that sort of rebellious attitude and sort of marshal it for religion. I mean, I think that's what the whole thing that kind of fails in general, which is this, we're going to make fucking hot rap tunes about Jesus.
You mean JC?
Those kind of suck, but he like figured out is like, how do we take this like teen angst, teen rebellion, and how do we harness that? Because you hear about like they're reaching out to the kids directly and are like, oh, your parents are probably going to be pissed about this. And
That's
it's like,
right.
fuck yeah, man. They don't really talk about that very much in the documentary, but that's what it seemed to me is like his genius, if you want to call it that, is understanding that teen culture isn't necessarily about making something that sounds like Nickelback, but it's for Jesus. It's about taking kids just sort of, you know, you're in that age where you're rebel and you don't want to do what your parents tell you to do and all this stuff. And it's like, well, actually, you can do what Jesus tells you to do. And Jesus was not a square man. That guy was a rebel. And here I am riding on my motorcycle. And it worked, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it was very effective to the point where he can basically enslave them on his campus and on his tour.
I believe that Nickelback for Jesus is Creed. To be
it is that could be like I guess Creed is like the best possible outcome of that genre.
Yeah. So, Kevin, I want to talk to you about some of the technical elements of this documentary. Obviously, we have a series that's a continuation of a part one, which was about, you know, same topic, by the way, absolutely the same topic, the mainstreaming, because the Duggar series was about the mainstreaming of evangelical culture. That's what it was about. The fact that this network put them on TV for many years and they invaded the culture and that they want to have their kids grow up to be politicians, all that stuff. But this is a different topic.
What was the board game? And then you ended up giving that to Toby for Christmas?
World's Richest Christian or something?
Yes. And we also have some journalists in this too as our guides. We've got Sarah McCammon, political reporter for NPR, who grew up evangelical. She was also, by the way, a Senate page when she was in high school. She's a very interesting person. And we have this reporter, Jeff Charlotte. So what do you think about the way they handled that topical transition and these journalists that are guiding us through this?
Okay, a couple things. When we see season 2 of Shiny Happy People, I think, like, I don't know if you thought this, but I was kind of assuming, it's a continuation of the Duggar story because that's what season 1 was about. And it's kind of like, you know, we're on that same theme, but the way they pivot was good. They bring back the cousins to talk a little shit and sort of like give an update on what's happening and then sort of like pass the baton, like to, okay, this is the next story that we're doing.
We've always believed that the best chance to repair damaged relationships or reconcile differences is through love in a private setting. Oh, he ticks me off. He just does. Oh man, I want to tell him what's up so bad.
And then so we get into this whole thing and we're introduced to Teen Mania. I definitely think, and I know Toby's going to agree with me on this, that Jeff Charlotte, the reporter from Rolling Stone who wrote all these books, was just great to listen to. He's just very well organized and knowledgeable and just really kind of came across as a real great expert. There was the one part where he was talking about, you know, when the kids were telemarketing for Jesus and stuff like that. And he just said, I wish it was a grift.
Many were working 80, 100 hours because you wanted to show how intense for God you were. And I almost wish it was just a grift because that's pretty easy to undo. But this was more than that. This was meant to transform them.
It's not a grift. It's fascism is what he like points out at one point. It's like, this is on its face fascism. That's what it is. And I loved it that he was willing to just go there because he's right. Laura, quick question for you. The talking heads in this are largely former Teen Mania members, including some former leaders in this movement. The guy who wrote the book, for instance, that all the kids were supposed to read. He's now in it. And we have these siblings who are hilarious, objectively hilarious. Their dad was a Christian music star and then came out and was rebuked by the church and is now much happier in his life. And they're very funny. He's the guy who kept saying he was a telemarketer for Jesus. And then we have this woman who was very, very close to Ron Luce. She actually worked for him as his like assistant when she was given her assignment as a teenager. And then she got out and started this online movement about Teen Mania. So what did you think about these characters in the documentary?
I liked the way that they, you know, kind of went back to what it was like when they were in the throes of being involved in this and the excitement and how like They went to youth group like every day after school. And then they went to all these things and they went to the concerts, but then they did like the mission trips and then they signed up for like the boot camp and whatever it was called. But then you start to see some sort of red flags, to put it mildly. And I just was really taken by that blog because I'm thinking when you've been in that level of sort of manipulation on that scale, like there's like some gaslighting involved. It's like, oh, I'm crazy. Like this can't really have been as bad as it was. So I think to have that platform on that blog to validate it was that bad. Yeah. And this is what happened to me. And this is what happened to me. And that gave them an ability to process what happened in a way that kind of deprogrammed them and then led to this coming out. And particularly I was interested when that blog was coming out, when we were listening to that phone call between the guy.
Oh, the conference call?
Oh, yeah, the conference call, who's like, well, like, you know, when you have that many teenagers in a room, of course somebody's going to get hurt. Like,
of course people are going to break
wrong.
ankles. It happens all the time. It was like one of those corporate conference calls where they're talking to shareholders about why the stock price has gone in the toilet.
Nothing to see. There's nothing to see here. There's nothing to see here. But then you have the guy that's like from like the clinic. He's like, yeah, they were dropping off like 10 or 12 of them every time they came out. You're like, yeah, okay. That's not normal.
Rolling around and vomit.
Rolling around and vomit. Yeah, who hasn't like sent a bunch of kids down into a rat's nest on a rope to nearly drown in the name of
Jesus?
You know what? I was watching this with Lance, who went through like Army Ranger training. He's like, this is what they did to us in the Army. They like literally.
Oh, we'll
these
get
are
there.
What was in that trench that they were going through that they were freaking? Was it like hot?
I think the water was just super cold.
Oh, it was cold.
Which I think that was what the physical reaction that we saw.
I was like, is it scaldingly hot or like insanely cold, or is it like
be a nice mud bath,
pepper water or something? I couldn't figure out what's going on.
Yeah, you know, you talk about the boot camp thing, Laura, and it's just you can think about the age of these kids, right? And how like they have been brought up like sort of with this emphasis on obedience. You've got all these, you know, boot camp tactics, break them down, build them up. They're glorifying dying for a cause, right? Like the parallels between military indoctrination and this religious indoctrination. I mean, it's just like really, it's very close. And there was one kid who said, like, that's really important if you're in a situation to be unquestioning of authority if you're getting shot at, which is the point why they do that in the military. But not while you're being a telemarketer for Jesus. You will not get telephone calls from us, though, if you join us on Patreon.
No, you will not.
You do it voluntarily.
Unless you want to.
Yeah, we do make them go through a grueling military-style boot camp, though, don't we?
That's true.
That's right.
We used to sometimes randomly call people, remember?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, at the $400 Patreon level, we will make you climb an obstacle.
That's right.
While we're all shouting at you to
and
get
then we'll
down.
Call you.
Yeah, move it. But you can join us at the leading off level for just $5 a month to get all sorts of exclusive stuff like the Crime Writers on After Show, Toby Ball's Deep Dive Book Club podcast, Rebecca's Readathon podcast, and Married with Podcast, our advice podcast. Rebecca, on the next episode of Married with Podcast, we have a listener who needs some advice. She's black, her mother-in-law is white, and she keeps using the N-word in front of her.
No fucking way.
Oof.
What?
Oh my God. As you can tell, I did not know about this question before right now.
No,
oh my God.
Yeah, it's only $5 to join. If you join us at $6, so you get another
That's
podcast.
Worth $100.
I don't even know what the question is, but I've got an answer.
I got an answer. Laura Bricker's Leave It to Bricker podcast is there. And Laura Bricker is on the hunt for whom?
The Peppermint Patty Bandit of Exeter.
Yeah.
Not someone stealing peppermint patties, but just littering.
Disposing of them. It may or may not be related to somebody dressed as Superman on a Segway in Exeter. There's a lot happening in my town that I need to get to the bottom of.
Oh, Jesus.
Wild.
That's a great $6. You could also join us at the Let's Do What We Do level, where you get episodes of Crime Writers on early and ad-free. And if you become a deep diver, you can also join Toby while he is recording his latest edition of the Deep Dive. Toby, on the last Deep Dive, you were joined by Meredith Constant, Elise McGovern, and Josh Eaton. And what did you guys talk about?
We talked about the book Some People Need Killing, which is about the Philippines under Duterte, I think is how you pronounce his name. And it's some grim stuff. But led to an interesting conversation.
We also have an Amazon storefront
where
you can see some of our favorite things. Rebecca, what are this week's Amazon recommendations?
Kevin, I have a new favorite thing.
What is that?
I feel like Oprah, except that I'm not Oprah. I don't have trashy friends that I make famous who then destroy our country. Anyway, my new favorite thing is this. You know what this is?
I can't see it on the podcast.
This is Clinique Almost Lipstick in Black Honey. Everyone knows about this if they know about makeup, I guess, but I didn't. This is the color. It's like lip gloss. You put it on, it's sheer, and then if you layer it, it becomes like a little more color. See?
Oh, wow. I'll do that a little later.
See? But Black Honey is the color they famously used on Liv Tyler's lips for the Lord of the Rings movies. It's sort of like a very natural, rosy color that makes your just lips look like a dark lip color. It's fucking great. So anyway, it's on sale right now. Clinique Almost Lipstick in Black Honey. I will put a link to it on my list on the store.
Yeah, now, Toby, you also have a list that's inspired by what our listeners have been purchasing. So what is your Toby Ball's deep cut recommendations?
All right, we're going to lead off with the Blissful Diary Reading Pillow, backrest pillow with shredded memory foam for adult and children, designed for bed and couch sitting up, includes arms.
Oh, designed
includes
for
arms.
Bed and couch sitting up. I mean, I usually don't sit up on my couch, but that could maybe prompt me to do so.
So I don't quite understand shredded memory foam. Is that going to remember stuff? I don't know.
It's like a poet. Did a cat get to it? Now they're sending
you guys don't know about memory foam?
Shredded memory foam.
Shredded memory foam. I think it's like, you can put like a worm in a blender and it'll come back and act the way it used to or something. All right.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Speaking of worms and blenders, we have the Luce Bidet Neo 185, the self-cleaning dual nozzle non-electric bidet attachment.
Hell yeah.
For toilet seat, adjustable water pressure, rear and feminine wash.
Nice.
Yep. It's not electric.
I fucking love a bidet. I love a bidet.
Coal-powered bidet.
But that's an attachment, so it probably doesn't do hot water like our bidet does. I love it. It's the best, right, Kevin?
That's what you want, is a nice cold water bidet.
It's the best. The heated toilet seat, it's awesome.
I can't believe I'm going to recommend this, but you can check out all of that stuff at amazon.com/shop/CrimeWritersOn. We earn commissions on qualified purchases.
Kevin, before we wrap up the business section, do we have any Patreon patron saints of the week this week?
Our Patreon patron saints are Larissa Engel and Ellen Smolensky. Bless you.
Larissa and Ellen, bless you indeed. Thank you so much for supporting us on Patreon. Thanks for paying for all the content you get back there. There's like 800 episodes back there now.
Almost 850.
Incredible. We really, really
More
love
than
you.
Hulu.
We can't do what we do without your Patreon support. So think about joining if you've never joined. Think about coming back if you used to be a member. And if you don't want to, that's also okay. We love you anyway. All right, Kevin, does that end our business section?
Thus ends the business section.
Let's go ahead and fade that music out. Kevin.
Yes.
Who's our next sponsor?
Well, our next sponsor are our new friends from Rula.
What?
So telehealth has made mental health care accessible for millions of people, but finding a suitable therapist, scheduling appointments, and all that expensive out-of-pocket costs can still make it feel like a huge barrier, and thankfully, Rula has you covered.
Tell me more.
Well, okay, are we going to say that, like, everybody feels the world is great?
Oh.
No.
My goodness. Wait, what?
Yeah.
Other people feel the same?
Yeah, so whether it's, the big things or the little things in your life, therapy can really make a big difference for lots of folks, and Rula partners with a network of over 15,000 therapists and psychiatrists, enabling you to find the right therapist for your needs and performances, with co-pays as little as $15 per session.
Wow.
So just simply start by answering a few questions, and you can get started as soon as the next day.
Incredible.
Now, thousands have already trusted Rula to support them on their journey toward improved mental health and overall well-being. So head over to Rula.com/CWO to get started today. And after you sign up and they ask you where you heard about them, please tell them that our show sent you.
Yes.
Yeah,
all
so
right.
that's Rula, RULA.com/CWO.
CWO.
And take the first steps towards better mental health today. You deserve quality care from someone who cares.
So, Kevin.
Yes, Rebecca.
Who is the next sponsor of this fine program?
Oh, we're brought to you by Quince.
Oh, my favorite.
It's like Queen and Prince put together. It's like make you feel like royalty.
Yes.
We're talking about fall.
Oh.
You know what that means, what season it is?
Yeah, that's the best season of the year. But there's also a whole part of fall where you're still wearing like summery clothes, but you want them to look kind of fallish. You know how that is?
Yeah.
Quince has all that stuff.
Right. And so now it's time to start thinking about layering, right? So think about like chic cashmere and cotton sweaters and think about them starting at about $40.
Incredible.
Washable silk tops and classic denim pants. Everything, it's like the timeless style. There is fashion and then there is style.
Yes.
And you can get that from Quince, but also the best part is that everything with Quince is half the cost of similar brands.
So, Kevin, you know that beautiful tencel dress I wore at dinner the other night?
Yes.
Long dress, little button up, a little sexy, but mostly just cute.
Did that have pockets?
It totally had pockets. I also love the fisherman's cotton sweater. I like sizing down in it, so it's a little bit fitted and short. The cutest sweater in my closet right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can elevate your fall wardrobe essentials with Quince. Go to quince.com/crime for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns.
Wow.
That's QUINCE.com/crime to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/crime.
It's that time of year again. Back to school season. And Instacart knows that the only thing harder than getting back into the swing of things is getting all the back-to-school supplies, snacks, and essentials you need. So here's your reminder to make your life a little easier this season. Shop favorites from Staples, Best Buy, and Costco, all delivered through Instacart, so that you can get some time back and do whatever it is that you need to get your life back on track. Instacart. We're here.
So, Toby?
Yes.
We have to talk about these mission trips.
Yeah.
And the fact that they practice for the mission trips at the Honor Academy by having a bunch of white kids dress up in tribal outfits and play bongos and shit to have rehearsals for how you will go and spread your evangelical bullshit to people against their will. They literally call it infecting and infusing the community. They say the word infecting. You're infecting the community with Jesus. What did you think about these mission trips and the way these kids prepare for them and the shit they have to do while they're on them?
It's just super weird, quite honestly. The idea that somehow you're getting trained by having these kids pretend to be, foreigners and you're trying to convert them. I think at one point they talk about converting, quote, rock worshiping Buddhists.
That's right.
Which is just fucking nuts in and of itself.
They also, by the way, have to pretend like they have to rehearse going in through customs and saying that they're not missionaries.
Right.
So they know it's wrong.
Well, and I think this idea that you're going to go particularly to the places that are less touched by Western civilization to try and convert these people who have somehow managed to sort of isolate themselves from this kind of stuff for the last 600 years. It's fucking wild. It just feels like something you would come up with if you were 13 years old and you got infected by Jesus, as they say, and are just we're going to go. And it's just how do we practice? Oh, I'll get the kid across the street to pretend he's a rock worshiping Buddhist. And let's see if we can talk him into worshiping Jesus. And then we'll just lie to people. And if somebody shoots us in the head, we'll have this stuff that we can. I mean, it's all so ludicrous. But at the same time, they're doing it. And not only are they doing it, they're charging kids to be involved in this shit.
And the Honor Academy is $8,000 a month. We saw that bill at that time.
But what do they do when they're in country? How are they ministering? They're putting on little plays.
Yeah.
Exactly.
In the street. When you're in Disney World and all of a sudden a bunch of, characters come around and they start improvising.
You mean professional performers, not children?
It's like that, except it's in Guadalajara and they're so proud of themselves because none of them speak Spanish, but they can mime Jesus being crucified really well.
Yeah, and it's always a handsome blonde kid playing Jesus.
Gotta have the blonde kid being Jesus.
And the women are all playing the wenches or whatever. And then it's
Don't move. But if you're in the background, Laura, and you move and you draw focus from Jesus, someone might go to hell.
That's right.
And that's on
like that poor woman who then had to participate because she was a lustful woman or whatever.
That's right. She got kicked out of the Honor Academy for kissing a boy, which those kids got to be fucking. They got to be, right? They put a bunch of teenagers together. Anyway, she gets kicked out for kissing a boy. She works her way back in because she misses it so much. She was the lead singer on all of the performing thingies, which she was also paying to do. They're all paying to be dishwashers, paying to be dancers, paying to be singers.
Well, that's not unlike most colleges.
Paying
anyway,
to be administrative assistants, paying to be telemarketers. Anyway, and then they forced her to make this music video. What did you think about that creepy ass music video?
That music video was so fucked up. She's a lustful woman. She's a, hussy, whatever they're calling her. But then the men that come in, they're like rapists or something. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And she's cowering, and then they run off. And I'm like, and this is her like penance for what she's done. And I'm like, okay. But it's like more of that scare tactic. It was just disturbing. But then when they segue out of that section, I'm like, and she signed up for that and willingly participated.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. She doesn't like it now, but she did it then. It's real bad. Toby, I think the documentary takes a super interesting turn with the militarization of the Honor Academy, and that Ron Luce is absolutely activated when Columbine happens. They say it's in part because of these mostly false stories about the two boys going in and killing a bunch of evangelical kids. There was an evangelical girl that was killed, and her parents were lovely, and they talked about her on TV. But he becomes activated and decides to turn this entire thing, Teen Mania, the big shows, everything, into basically open displays of militaristic fascism and make the kids go through this boot camp. What did you think about this turn, not just in the documentary, but in the story?
So I thought in the documentary, they did a really interesting sort of segue into that, where you sort of out of context, they asked one of the young women who's an alumna if she expected to be martyred. And you're like, what are you talking about? And she's like, yeah, I didn't really see it ending up any other way.
Yeah.
And then you're sort of like, what's going on? And then they kind of break into this story about how they're going to this Pontiac Dome in Michigan for like this huge thing, which is going to be called like One Night or something. And it's the day before that Columbine happens, where like everybody basically in the country is like, not again, this is a tragedy, all this stuff. And then Ron Luce gets up in front of this crowd of like tens of thousands of teenagers and is like, fuck yeah, they're martyrs. It's something, to aspire to. So suddenly this idea of like dying for the evangelical movement becomes like almost a goal. So this is like a full-on war. This is not like a metaphorical war or a culture war. It's like, we've got to get ready to actually like fight. And it's like what a 13 or 14-year-old would be like, well, we got to train. We got to like figure out how to be army dudes. Honor Academy, like suddenly becomes militarized. And they do this 90 straight hours that's supposed to simulate the Navy SEALs Hell Week.
Well, you're going to want to be gentle laying those crosses down. If your belt breaks off your cross, it's not going to be pretty.
Crawling through tunnels 10 feet underground and 30 feet long.
We need you in that hole now. At first.
Kids are freaking out, and the response is basically, you're not trusting in God, or you're not willing to do this for Jesus. And so it's like all this stuff, but it's like, to what end? Like, this is not going to help you in your mission. It's not going to help you do telemarketing. It's not going to help you in your dance routine. It's not going to help you wash dishes. Like, it's fucking horrifying, but I'm like, what outlet is there? And they talk about this a little bit.
Domestic
the documentary,
terrorism. That's the outlet that
are these people who like ended up like storming the Capitol? Is the idea that you have this mindset that you have to enforce sort of your worldview through violence if necessary?
Yep.
It's weird from just like the lesson that Ron Luce takes out of this to what he tries to convey to kids to how he tries to kind of reinforce it. There's not a whole lot of follow-up because, the thing kind of falls apart fairly soon after. But I would have been really interested if somebody had done some research into like what happened to some of these kids. Like, what's the Venn diagram for people who stormed the Capitol and people who are part of
this kind of thing? Yeah.
Yeah, this kind of thing. I think it'd be pretty interesting.
Or the militias that walk along the street in their mask and their military gear, protesting at gay pride parades and all that stuff. Like, what's the Venn diagram of that? It's so interesting. And I always say, like, the worst people tell on themselves so badly. How many times have you heard an evangelical politician or minister or talking head or a Falwell talk about Sharia law and terrorism? And, they're indoctrinating their young people to come over here and kill us in the name of their God. No, that's what's happening here in these fucked up evangelical training programs that are basically like, if you're not white And if you are a person of color, if you don't integrate with white people, you're all bad. And if you're not our brand of Christianity, you're all bad. Like they're telling themselves that's what they're doing. Kevin, what do you think about this turn in the story?
Yeah, I was terrified, actually. It was actually Ron Luce who was radicalized by Columbine, not the kids, right? I mean, totally took away the wrong message from the school shooting, what to do about it. And just like the paranoia ended up being there. But like Toby said, like, well, what's the outlet? Well, that's the next thing is we're giving you an outlet. And somebody, and it might have been, again, Jeff Charlotte saying, like, you can't build an army and not give them something to go fight for or fight against. And the whole thing about the way to change the Constitution with this constitutional convention.
It's a real thing. The Convention of States, 35 states have agreed to do it.
That was terrifying.
Well, it's happening.
No, I know. That's why it was terrifying. I was like, oh my God.
Thank you, Heritage Foundation. Thank you, Falwells.
That was a big thing in the militia movement too. Like in the 90s, there was all this stuff. And, they're like, we've got this many states. We only need 15 more. Like, dude, you're not even going to get 2 more. Like, you've maxed out.
No.
Who knows
I mean,
now?
I feel very differently about that now.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Look at our legislature. I mean, you need the legislature. And that's the whole point of training these young people to be indoctrinated, because then they fucking run for local office. And local office is way more important than national office. And they will run for office. They have been running for office. A lot of today's politicians are these kids.
Yeah. Well, your boy, what's his face in North
Madison
Carolina?
Cawthorn?
Yeah.
He was one of those kids, yeah.
Who was the one podcaster guy says, like, women won't have the right to vote? Like, what the fuck?
Oh,
you think that's a mobilizing message for you?
You'd be surprised. A lot of women think that women shouldn't have the right to vote. Women who grew up in cultures like this. You always think I'm being hyperbolic when I talk about it, but when you see someone say it and they make it sound completely reasonable, it is reasonable to a huge swath of our country right now.
It's that time of year again, back to school season. And Instacart knows that the only thing harder than getting back into the swing of things is getting all the back to school supplies, snacks, and essentials you need. So here's your reminder to make your life a little easier this season. Shop favorites from Staples, Best Buy, and Costco, all delivered through Instacart, so that you can get some time back and do whatever it is that you need to get your life back on track. Instacart, we're here.
What does possibility mean to you?
That's a hard question.
Something that you can strive for.
That I'm able to do anything I set my mind to.
You're confident in yourself and you believe in yourself. Stuff that you could achieve.
I feel excited. Anything is possible when you're more confident.
Shoes are a huge part of that. They are the most important part of my style.
You can express yourself.
In the right shoes, anything is possible.
DSW, countless shoes at brag-worthy prices. Imagine the possibilities.
All right, let's do what we do. Should our listeners check out Season 2 of Shiny Happy People, A Teenage Holy War? Laura Bricker, thumbs up or thumbs down for Teenage Holy War?
Yeah, this is a big thumbs up. I was not expecting this when we started Season 2. I was like, oh, it's going to be Season 2 of the Duggar family. And then it shifted into this wild teen scene in the evangelical Christian world with rock concerts, pyrotechnics, military training. I think something that is extremely relevant right now, given the nature of what's happening around our country, to see the backstory for me, that was where I was seeing a lot of connections to things that are happening now, watching the teenagers going through this program, watching the messaging, learning about the messaging, hearing from people that were involved in this. It was eye-opening. It was terrifying. It was extremely well done. As I was watching it, I was like, this is really good. This is also very terrifying. I cannot look away. So big thumbs up for me.
Toby Ball, thumbs up or thumbs down for A Teenage Holy War, second season of Shiny Happy People?
Yeah, I'm a big thumbs up too. To me, it was disturbing. I guess there's probably a significant number of people in this country who probably think it's awesome. But it's an effort to turn our country into a religious state, essentially. And the way they go about it, or at least this section of it, is by getting them young, recruiting kids. There's a few different things that are going on that I thought were pretty interesting. One is sort of the arc of this guy, Ron Luce, and his organization. But then I think it's also part of a larger movement that's got a particular goal and has a lot of power in our country. But also, I think for a Northeastern liberal, it's just not a part of the culture that sort of crosses my path very often, if at all. Like, it's something that up here you really have to kind of look for. It's super interesting. It's very kind of troubling. It's really well put together. Jeff Charlotte is awesome. The alumni they have from these programs to talk about it, I thought were all very interesting. So big thumbs up from me.
Kevin Flynn.
Yeah, I'm also thumbs up on this. This was really good. One of the things I liked is that this didn't play on people's faith for laughs. It was very respectful of what the individuals that we heard from, what their faith is. That wasn't what it was about. It was that they got into the wrong organization and that they said that faith and spirituality was weaponized against them. Unlike some of the different things that we've seen involving religious institutions, not about sex, it's not about money. It's all about radicalizing its members, taking it from something where they thought they were, getting involved in something that was heightening their faith and their quality of life, and then all of a sudden they find themselves in a goddamn boot camp, rolling around in the mud and being asked to martyr themselves in the name of a larger cause. And then the way they draw the line between this kind of youth ministry and its connections to all sorts of other shadowy political groups and a long-term political agenda to dramatically change our government, our culture, and our way of life. That was a turn that I was not expecting to see in this documentary, and it was a real kick in the nuts. So I'll say that this is definitely worth taking the time to watch these 3 episodes of Teenage Holy War, Shiny Happy People Season 2.
Yeah, this is a huge thumbs up for me. I was really looking forward to watching the series, and part of me was like scared because it might not live up to the greatness of season 1, which was truly great. I loved this 3-episode series, and I will say, Kevin, I'm going to disagree with a couple of things you said. One of them is that I do think it takes on the faith directly because the faith has turned into something else. The faith has turned into indoctrination. The faith has turned into weaponization. It's turned into the normalization of an anti-woman, anti-civil rights push to, as you did say, change America. And it used to be shadowy, and now it is mainstream. If you turn on your radio, you will hear openly evangelical artists doing music, predominantly country music, on top 40 radio. You will hear that. You will see evangelical influencers on TikTok, on Instagram, and on HGTV. In fact, they just culled a bunch of their shows that were hosted by non-evangelicals, and a couple of the hosts have come out and said, we're not white, we're not Christian, we're not straight. They didn't want us anymore. I mean, this is just a discourse that's happening, and it's on its face. It is everywhere. Like, if we think that this, states coming together and changing the Constitution is a long shot, it was a long shot 10 years ago. It is no longer a long shot. The Federalist Society's vision of America is in fact coming true. And what I love about this documentary is that it is also deeply funny. And I really think that, like with The Program, for instance, another documentary I absolutely loved, if you don't have moments of self-deprecating or dark humor and lightness kind of punctuating a story like this, it just sends you into like a dread spiral. And I can honestly say this is a genuinely entertaining 3-episode documentary, even as it is horrifying, terrifying, etc. It's truly deeply funny at many points. It's really entertaining. They have wonderful people talking about it. They have great journalists in it. And it does exactly what a documentary like this is supposed to do. It makes you think. I've talked about it to like 100 people already, and I'm telling you about it right now. You must watch it. And if you haven't watched season 1 yet, watch that too. Now it's time for my favorite part of the podcast, a little something I like to call the crime of the week. Health officials now know why more than 80 became sick after eating in a Wisconsin pizzeria. It wasn't E. coli or salmonella. They say the dough had been infused with high levels of the marijuana derivative THC. Last October, dozens and dozens of customers of famous Yeti's Pizza reported dizziness, heart palpitations, paranoia, and hallucinations. They ranged in age from 1 to 91. A third of them went to the emergency room, and 3 were admitted overnight. The restaurant shares an industrial kitchen with an outfit that makes marijuana edibles. The pizza makers say they ran out of oil to make their dough and borrowed what they thought was straight canola oil. Oops.
Oh, amazing.
They weren't aware the oil contained high concentrations of THC. Dude, that oil is literally how you make those edibles. Authorities say the mishap was unintentional, so no charges will be filed. They issued a warning for businesses sharing space with edible makers about the dangers of cross-contamination. All of those intoxicated by the THC pizzas recovered and had a big case of the munchies. So, panel, what is the next specialty pizza that's going to be offered at Famous Yetis? What do you think, Laura Bricker?
That's pretty simple. It's mushroom pizza.
Oh. What do you think, Toby? What is the next specialty pizza that's going to be offered at Famous Yetis?
So before I get to that, I've got a question, which is, did they ask the people at the dispensary and they're like, yeah, you can take our oil? Or did they not ask them and just took it and then were surprised by what happened?
I think they just took it.
Yeah.
Shit.
By the way, that oil smells like weed, though. It does.
Yeah, it's...
I may or may not have a child who made that in our house after we renovated our kitchen and put the vent from our stove right smack in the front of our house.
Oh, my.
Our whole neighborhood smelled like weed for like a week. Yeah, it smelled. Yeah, it's not the same as oil.
Yeah, I think these specialty pizza places might put gummies on their pizza.
What do you think, Kevin? What is the next specialty pizza to be offered at Famous Yetis?
They're going to come out with blunt crust pizza.
Nice.
Or dank dish.
Oh, not bad. Yeah. Not bad at all. All right, that's going to do it for us. But before we go, Laura Bricker, do we have a cat of the week this week?
We do. And do you guys remember this happened at an ice cream shop in Newmarket a few years ago? Do you remember that, Toby?
I don't.
Where they had weed in the ice cream and they actually got arrested.
Oh.
So,
Newmarket.
Yeah, Newmarket, little hippie town.
My old haunts.
So this cat comes to us from Jesse Pascal Carvalho. Jesse sent me this picture on Instagram on a DM of a black and white cat hanging from a screen.
Love that.
I have a picture of my cat getting stuck on my screen door. She's been trying to escape all summer. We bought her a leash, but she wants to go outside without it. I was on the phone when I heard screaming, and it was my cat getting stuck. She tried again later, got stuck screaming, and since the second attempt has learned her lesson and is behaving a little bit. I was like, this is amazing. This is exactly how my cat Zelda ended up becoming an indoor-outdoor cat again, because she literally just tore through the screen and ripped it and was like, I'm going to live my best life. So this cat, though, it's like, let me out. It's a great picture. So thank you for sending it in, Jesse.
You know how some like toxic boyfriends and girlfriends are just in it for the chase, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I think cats are in it for the chase. I literally saw a video yesterday of a cat in like a cage where one of the walls was missing. So it could have just walked out and it was hanging on the side, screaming. Like, I think they like the chase. I really, really do. All right, Laura Bricker, if folks want to reach out to you and submit any kind of animal at all, theirs, someone else's, or something on TV to be Cat of the Week, how can they find you?
You can find me at Laura Bricker on Instagram and Blue Sky, or you can send us an email at our Crime Writers on email.
Toby Ball, folks want to reach out to you and say hi, how can they find you online?
At TobyBall NH on Blue Sky or at TobyBall603 on Instagram.
What about you, Kevin? How can you be found?
I'm at Kevin P. Flynn.
If you want to follow me...
P stands for pizza.
It doesn't. If you want to follow me everywhere, I'm on Instagram. I'm still on Twitter. And I'm also on Blue Sky. You can find me at Reb Lavoie. Follow the show everywhere at Crime Writers On, including TikTok. And we really encourage you to join our incredibly healthy, wonderful Facebook group where real discourse happens and stays civil. It's really, really incredible, and everyone there is wonderful. Get episodes early and ad-free at patreon.com/Partners in Crime Media. You'll get the after show, Married with Podcast, Laura Bricker's Leave It to Bricker podcast, and Toby Ball's Deep Dive Book Club podcast, and the Readathon. Our theme song was composed and performed by Tyler Gibbons, and our editor is the terrific Livy Burdett. The EP of this show is Kevin. This show was recorded in Studio C, the closet, our New Hampshire basement, where we are also telemarketers for Jesus. Teenage telemarketers for Jesus. On behalf of all the crime writers, thanks so much for listening. We will catch you later.
Look what I found when I was going through my old bags.
Oh, wow.
Guy Smiley.
I had cut out a picture of Guy Smiley when I was in college and put him up on my wall.
Oh.
And for some reason, he managed to make it through like 6 moves. Like I can't throw him away.
And that's how we learned that Toby's a hoarder.
Yeah, exactly.
partners in crime media.
I've never felt like this before. It's like you just get me. I feel like my true self with you. Does that sound crazy? And it doesn't hurt that you're gorgeous. Okay, that's it. I'm taking you home with me. I mean, you can't find shoes this good just anywhere. Find a shoe for every you from brands you love, like Birkenstock, Nike, Adidas, and more at your DSW store or DSW.com.